What is going on here? We have a percussionist doing something that a percussionist does not typically do. What are they doing? They're holding a small cymbal by the bell, but they're not hitting it with a drumstick. They're grinding it against the edge of a rotating vinyl turntable. So we're not getting this sharp, decaying sound that cymbals normally make, but actually it's a long, sustained, singing sort of tone. This piece is Atlas of the Sky. It's a 75-minute opera by Liza Lim, featuring a soprano, 3 percussionists, and a community choir. And what you're hearing is the very beginning of that opera, where this percussionist, Matthias Schack-Arnott, performs a 3-minute cymbal solo. At first, the cymbal sounds like one single high, grainy tone, but actually, we're not just hearing a single sound. There's several different noises happening at the same time, and the percussionist is highlighting each one of them using slight shifts of their hand position. The most prominent sound is a very clear pitch at 596 Hertz. With a small shift in hand position, a second, higher pitch is heard at 629 Hertz. Under both of these pitches, you can hear a soft white noise coming from the sound of metal scraping against the vinyl. And finally, a harsh buzzing noise is created by the cymbal vibrating against the metal pin of the turntable. These high singing pitches you are hearing are called overtones. They're frequencies at which the cymbal is especially resonant at. Matthias controls which of these frequencies resonate by pressing specific areas of the cymbal against the vinyl. Notice how his slight shift in hand is what causes the higher overtone of the cymbal to come forth. The location and pitch of these harmonic nodes are determined by the size and the density of the cymbal. Because of this, no two cymbals will have the same harmonic frequencies. If Matthias were to use a different cymbal, we would hear a completely different set of noises. So how does our composer Liza Lim go about creating music like this? Is she sitting in a room mapping out the densities and dimensions of her cymbals, looking for the different frequencies emerging from particular pressures and angles? Lim's approach is actually quite different from this. She says, I tend to think it's been a more organic, if I can use that word, process where one thing has led to another. Atlas of the Sky, which is quite a big project with speak percussion, started off as just mucking around. It was just saying, let's try this. And that's a central part of how I do things, meeting someone and workshopping with them. I've seen how these sounds were very specifically crafted in a unique situation for a performer and their capacities and their particular energetic feel. It creates a certain kind of vitality that becomes very attractive. So Lim's cymbal solo didn't come out of pages of computation and modeling. Rather, she was with her performers long before a single note was written on a page, exploring the different possibilities within their reach. She goes on to say, we were trying out different things on the record player, sewing needles stuck into cones of paper, sticking the sharp edge of plastic vinyl notes onto the spinning record. Matthias has done extensive work with rotary instruments and friction, and at one point tried the cymbals on the record player, which worked beautifully, and that's what eventually became the opening of the piece. In the 20th century, composing contemporary music was a relatively solitary process. Composers would rarely communicate with performers before giving them the finished piece. For many, it was a point of honor for composers to work alone, as it would emphasize their creative mind, their ability for producing new and unheard of musics. However, Liza Lim is among an increasing number of composers today who are composing in a much more collaborative manner. Look at how Lim notates the opening of her work. she writes in the first page of the sheet music, "Small domed cymbal, hold vertically so edge touches vinyl surface of a record rotating on a record player. Allow different harmonics to sing out by adjusting position and pressure of cymbal edge on vinyl." So not only are the sounds of her music created in collaboration with the musician, but the actual music making itself gives the percussionist a much greater amount of control than what is typically seen in this sort of contemporary music. Self-described as mucking around, Lim's process has a light-hearted quality to it, a sense of persistent curiosity and subsequent delight in discovering something magical. But also imbued in that description is this strong sense of collaboration, one that is not just unto finding interesting sounds or interesting musics, but is actually at the very center of how Lim creates music.